Well, good morning and welcome to the Bear's Den, my little studio in my basement. Anyhow, this morning I kind of wanted to talk about something interesting to violinists or fiddle players, and it's something I have run across recently. It has to do with bows and rehairing. So, as you know, if you're a fiddle player or a violinist, you know that this is actual horse's hair in the bow. Watch, check it out. I'll loosen it up. We can see it better. See there, it's actually tail hair out of a horse. So I think most people kind of already know that. And you have a screw here in the end, you just twist it and tighten it, right? So that it tightens up into a perfect ribbon for playing the violin. Okay, so what's funny is, and there was something that I was completely wrong about for a long time. It sounded good. Someone had said it, and I just took it to be the truth until I did some research and found out that it sounded right, but it was wrong. So here's the deal. For years, I always understood that there were these little microscopic bristles, or bristles would be a good word for it, I guess. You know, fibers that poke out from the hair that hold rosin, which is the sticky stuff that we put on there to make the bow work, and you get, friction, which causes tone out of the string. Well, here comes the real issue. They tell you that you should replace the hair if you're someone who plays a lot like I do, every 3 to 6 months. But I break one hair maybe a year, maybe every 2 years. And so since there's anywhere from 150 to 200 hairs in a bow when it's redone, there's enough hair in there to last until they bury me, as long as I don't have some kind of catastrophic event to destroy the hair. So I don't need to be replacing it every 3 to 6 months. But the reason they tell you that is they say that the little microscopic fibers wear out. Well, I was listening to a guy the other day give a lecture about it, and he was explaining, he said, that's not really the case. He says if you look at it under a microscope, he was showing that when one of those fibers, those little rough spots break off, they're kind of like fish scales. There's another rough spot just right underneath it that replaces it. So as long as the hair is intact and it's not broken and coming off the bow, you really don't need to rehair it. Unless it just gets too dirty, they would say, well, you can use denatured alcohol and clean it if it gets too dirty, which will also strip the rosin completely off as well. But here is the real trick to it. This is the interesting part to me. So what I did find out also from that same guy was that if you strip the rosin off, it's like new again. And this really gets interesting to me. So you put rosin on there. Well, rosin can melt, or it can become almost liquefied or dissolved in water because there's humidity in the air. And I play a lot of places that are very humid, and extreme temperatures, hot and cold, which is why I use these beautiful Coda bows, which I love these things. This is a Marquis, love them. Because they're not susceptible to humidity problems and temperature issues. They just work great no matter what the situation is. But horsehair is horsehair. Doesn't matter if it's on a Coda bow or some other kind of bow, Pernambuco or whatever. And what happens is the hair, the rosin in the hair will actually start to solidify, almost like in the large slick spaces, and it stops grabbing. All right. And it'll turn into like just almost like ice. You put snow on the ground, you can get some traction. It melts, turns into ice when it refreezes, and now you can't get any grip. So you start getting this kind of a weird, I don't know if you can hear this on this. It grabs. But when I first start the note, you hear that? That kind of a weird thing. It doesn't really grab like it should. So what I learned was, and by the way, I don't drink, which I don't have a problem. If you do drink, that's up to you. But I do collect. So any of my drinking friends out there that drink Crown Royal, if you drink the Crown Royal, save the bag and give them to me because I collect them. Okay? And I use them to hold, to put shoulder rests in to keep them from banging around in my violin case. But I also use them for this. Check it out. I can take a Crown Royal bag. I can grab the hair. Don't grab it too hard because, well, that high-pitched squeal kind of gets to me. But don't grab them too hard, but you can rub it up and down by pinching the hair and tear that layer of rosin off of there, right? Really strip it down without having to use the denatured alcohol. And even more, and we'll take it maybe one more swipe out of here. Now, it literally is like restoring the hair because it's pulling the rosin out of all the places where it snuck in. It already sounds better, even without adding more rosin. So it took care of the problem already, because what it does is it pulls those little, rosin slicks off of there. It takes them off, and it opens the hair back up again. Now, if you need a little bit more bite, then you just go get a chunk of rosin out. You can put some on there. I really don't need to, but you can. But what I would suggest to you is that every time you play your instrument, and let me grab this bag one more time here. So, all right, there it is. Throw it on the floor. And I would also recommend wiping down the strings. Doesn't hurt a bit. When I was a kid, we were always kind of under the impression that you don't want to do this kind of thing because you lose the bite, of the bow or the string. But it's actually the opposite. Too much rosin built up over time that gets humidity in it, gets water in it, and or melts. Rosin will melt when it gets hot if you're outside playing. Or the combination of causes these slick spots, and then you start getting false tones and weird things. Now I've wiped the rosin off the bow and off the strings. And it sounds great again. So just wanted to share that today. Helpful hint, right? From the Bear's Den. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.